My name is Brian Riddell, and I'm the proud member of the Provincial Parliament for the Great Riding of Cambridge. It is my distinct honour to welcome our leader, Premier Doug Ford, Sylvia Jones, and Vic Fedeli, Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, and my colleague, Jess Dixon. Welcome to Cambridge. Also joining us for this exciting announcements is Bryan May, our MP for the area, Karen Redmond, Chair of the Region of Waterloo, Jan Leggett, Mayor of our beautiful city of Cambridge, Sue Foxton, Mayor of Township of North Dumfries. I'm proud to see the local companies like Novocol Pharma working with Moderna to strengthen Ontario and Canada's domestic supply chain for the production of vaccines. At this time, I'd like to call upon my counterpart, Cambridge MP Bryan May, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I'm happy to be here with our friends from the province of Ontario, Moderna, and from Novocol Pharma. One of the most important things that any government can do is to keep its citizens safe. The pandemic brought this point home with incredible clarity. That's why our government acted quickly, committing $2 billion to rebuild this vital sector, including an investment of nearly $33 million for our hosts here at Novocol. We also signed a long-term deal with Moderna to enhance pandemic preparedness in Canada, a move that is helping strengthen not only Canada's life science ecosystem, but our economy as a whole. As we implement Canada's biomanufacturing and life sciences strategy, partnerships like the one that we are celebrating today promise to sustain our momentum. My congratulations to Moderna, Novocol Pharma, and the Government of Ontario for today's announcement. Together, we are helping secure jobs here in Cambridge while solidifying our vaccine manufacturing capacity. Thank you, and now I'd like to introduce Patricia Gauthier, President and General Manager of Moderna Canada. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. May, Premier Ford, Minister Jones, Minister Fedeli, our Novocol partners, and distinguished guests. Today, we proudly announce our long-term agreement with Ontario-based Novocol Pharma to help make mRNA vaccines available to all Canadians. This agreement was made possible in part thanks to the important contribution for the Government of Ontario through the Ontario Together Fund. Thank you for your support and continued collaboration. Just over a year ago, we announced a 10-year strategic partnership with the Government of Canada to provide onshore respiratory vaccine manufacturing capabilities here in Canada and support national pandemic readiness. Today is a very important milestone in that commitment. Moderna will now be able to deliver domestic end-to-end mRNA vaccine production, ensuring Canadians have secure, onshore, direct access to our mRNA vaccines for future pandemic and health emergencies. We are very proud to expand our footprint and investment in Ontario, which already included our Canadian headquarters here in Toronto, and which will now include jobs and activities in manufacturing, which will support highly skilled jobs in this growing sector. It will also support and build the local biomanufacturing ecosystem. Canada has been a key partner with Moderna as we bring our mRNA platform to the world. It was one of the first countries where Moderna established a local team. In fact, I was the very first Canadian employee when I joined Moderna 2.5 years ago, November 2020. And now we have more than 40 employees across the country with about 30 employees right here based in Ontario. Together with our partners, we have accomplished over the past 3 years is really incredible. We remain committed to working with provincial and federal governments and other stakeholders to take the learnings and experiences of the past few years and turn them into very tangible assets that will protect the health of Canadians from respiratory diseases and future pandemic. With that, I would like to invite Jehr Collins, our Head of Manufacturing and Quality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patricia. It's a wonderful day to be here. Yesterday I was in Cambridge, Massachusetts, United States, and today I'm in Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And it's a real pleasure to be here. It's a really, really special today. Today is an announcement which is a step forward in our commitment to Moderna to bring in onshore manufacturing to Canada. The final step in preparing our vaccines for use is a process called fill-finish. And Moderna's partnership with Novocol Pharma ensures continuity in Canada's vaccine supply chain. Vaccines produced at our manufacturing plant, which is now under construction in Laval, will be finished into vials and prefilled syringes here in Cambridge, Ontario. One of the benefits that Moderna brings is its platform, and a platform has speed over traditional vaccine manufacture that allows us flexibility and speed of development. And our mRNA platform's speed, scale and flexibility are uniquely suited for rapid responses to infection disease outbreaks. And Novocol Pharma has the experience, the capabilities, manufacturing systems and controls required to prepare our mRNA vaccines and scale up production as needed to address novel or emerging viruses. This partnership will have significant positive impact for the scientific expertise and economic development perspectives, creating value that goes well beyond the sum of the parts of the collaboration here. And it is a direct result of strong and productive relationships with local experts and the government to ensure a strong manufacturing pipeline. It is also an important part of Moderna's global commitments to establish facilities in other countries. We've done so including Australia and the United Kingdom, and this furthers health security worldwide. So it's now my pleasure to introduce Atif Zia, the Chief Operating Officer of Septipoint and also President of Novocol Pharma.
Thank you, Jehr. On behalf of Novocol Pharma and Septidont, our parent company, we're honoured to be joined today by our partner Moderna, Premier Ford, Ministers Jones and Fedeli, and fellow dignitaries for this significant milestone announcement. Today marks a particularly important milestone in the growth of Canada's biomanufacturing sector for domestic production, specifically of vaccines. For over 45 years, Novocol has been producing injectable pharmaceuticals for domestic and export markets. Over many years, we've been growing with a continual story of expansion. We now boast over 500 employees here in Cambridge, Ontario. Our skilled workforce is proud to be a contributor now to the rebuilding of Canada's biomanufacturing sector. In 2021, Novocol commenced a large-scale investment through the help of the federal government. We're expanding our injectable fill-finish operations with the help of the Strategic Innovation Fund, which is within the Federal Ministry of Industry, Science and Economic Development. All this is in response to rebuilding the Canadian biomanufacturing ecosystem. Our agreement today with Moderna will take advantage of our new state-of-the-art fill-finish operations. We will be providing domestically manufactured mRNA vaccines for Canadians, both for endemic supply and pandemic preparedness in the future. This partnership could only be made through the collaboration with the like-minded organizations of Moderna and Novocol, as well as the help of the federal government of Canada and the province of Ontario. Through this important mission with Moderna, we look forward to serving Canadians with a secure supply of vaccines, driving economic development, and supporting skilled job growth right here in Ontario. And now I'd like to introduce the Honourable Sylvia Jones, Minister of Health of Ontario.
Well, good morning, everyone. It truly is an exciting day in Cambridge this morning, and I'm happy to be here for this important announcement alongside Premier Ford, Minister Fedeli, and my local colleagues, MPPs Jess Dixon and Brian Riddell, and of course, leaders from Moderna and Novocol Pharma. One of the key pillars of our government's Your Health Plan is our commitment to ensuring faster access to care closer to home, and that includes life-saving vaccines. During the pandemic, our government worked tirelessly to ensure that any Ontarian who wanted a vaccine was able to get it. But as the pandemic highlighted, we were relying on a global supply chain to access much-needed vaccines during a time of global need. Ontarians need to know that they can get the care that they need including vaccines, right in their community and in their neighbourhoods. And our government knows that to improve our healthcare system, we need to be bold, innovative, and creative. We need to build on the spirit of collaboration on display across the healthcare sector, and that includes our partners who support our healthcare sector, like Moderna and Novocol. Ensuring we no longer rely on a global supply chain to ensure Ontarians have access to vital public health tools, like vaccines, is an important step forward for our province. So I want to thank everyone here who is playing a role in not only creating valuable jobs, but helping us to ensure that Ontarians will have access to the vaccines they need when they need them. Thank you, stay well, and it's now my pleasure to invite Minister Fedeli to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Minister Jones. This really is a big day for the people in Cambridge and for all the people across Ontario. Thank you, Moderna, for choosing to invest in Ontario and for partnering with Novocol Pharma. Your investment in this exciting new partnership will strengthen our manufacturing capabilities while also creating many more good-paying jobs. From the discovery of insulin to the development of the first cardiac pacemaker, Ontario has a long and storied history of life-saving medical breakthroughs. By growing and diversifying our life sciences sector, we're able to build on those successes and foster new opportunities across the province. Ontario has 70,000 talented life science workers who turn out world-class, award-winning production, 500 of them in this building alone. And that's exactly what this new partnership between Moderna and Novocol exemplifies. We're proud to foster partnerships and collaboration among business, industry, researchers, and innovators. And we're proud to support the discovery of innovative health technologies and solutions. Together, we're ensuring that Ontario continues to be the global life science leader. Thank you again for your hard work, and we look forward to your success. And it's now time to hear the details from the best closer in business, Premier Doug Ford.
Well, good afternoon, and that's coming from the best salesperson that we have in the province. So thank you, Minister Fedeli, for that introduction. It's great to be back here in the wonderful city of Cambridge and the region of Waterloo, alongside, as you heard, Minister Fedeli, Minister Jones, PA Dixon, PA Riddell, as we welcome another big announcement for Ontario. And I know I was here with the chair not too long ago, another great announcement. I think every time we get together, we're announcing something new in Waterloo region. I also want to recognize MP Bryan May. And Brian, I have to tell you, we have a phenomenal relationship with the federal government when we collaborate and cooperate. We do amazing things together, along with Mayor Jan Leggett, another great mayor, and another mayor right behind Jan is Sue Foxton, two fabulous mayors for the region, and obviously Regional Chair Karen Redmond, that is doing a fantastic job taking care of all Waterloo region, so thank you for joining us today. And a big shout out for Patricia, Jehr, and the team at Moderna and Atif, and everyone at Novocol for hosting us today. We're so thrilled to be here with you today to celebrate the incredible partnership. Moderna's multi-million-dollar investment means that the mRNA vaccines manufactured by Moderna in Canada will be prepared and packaged right here at the Novocol plant. And I'm so pleased to announce that our government is supporting this new partnership with a $4 million investment through the Ontario Together Fund. This partnership will create good-paying jobs in Cambridge and surrounding regions. It's a huge vote of confidence in Ontario, our economy, and in our skilled workforce. Just as important, this partnership will expand Moderna's footprint here in Ontario and provide our province and its people with faster, more reliable access to life-saving vaccines when we need them. Because, friends, as the COVID-19 pandemic taught us, when it comes to being ready for emergencies of any kind, we need to be ready, we need to be self-sufficient. That's why our government partnered with the federal government and 3M Canada to build a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in Brockville that's producing 50 million made in Ontario and 95 masks every year. And everyone remembers the big panic during the pandemic. We couldn't get the N95 masks. Now we're self-sufficient from top to bottom. And it's why our government released Ontario's Life Sciences Strategy. This strategy, the first of its kind in over a decade, serves as a roadmap to establish Ontario as a life sciences hub. And over the past 2 years, Ontario has attracted almost $3 billion in new investments into the sector from both domestic and international companies. And I always say, when you create the climate and the conditions, companies will come here. We have a competitive markets right across the world, no matter if it's the U.S. or over in Asia, over in Europe. And thanks to the partnership and collaboration with municipalities and with the federal government and the province, I always say we can take on the whole world. And we'll make sure we make it attractive for companies to come and invest, not only in the province, but into the people that live here. This includes Sanofi's $925 million state-of-the-art vaccine facility to meet growing demand for flu vaccines. Omnia Bio's $580 million investment for a new cell and gene therapy manufacturing facility being built in Hamilton. And AstraZeneca's major investment from earlier this year to expand its research facility in Mississauga. My friends, our government has a plan to build Ontario's economy. We're cutting red tape. We're keeping taxes low. We're investing in transit, roads, highways to keep people and goods moving. And we're training the skilled workforce that companies need to grow and expand. And friends, our plan is working. There's 640,000 more people working today than when we took office in 2018. And Chair, I drove by a sign and it said 630 or 640,000 people living here in Waterloo Region. Just imagine, that's every single person in Waterloo Region having a job that might not have had a job 4.5 years ago. We're creating the conditions for companies to grow, attracting billions of dollars in investments in the auto sector, in manufacturing, in tech, and in the life sciences. And while the world faces economic uncertainty, one thing I have complete confidence in is Team Ontario and Team Canada. When we come together, our talented workers, our great partners and businesses like Moderna and Novocol, all levels of government, I know we can accomplish incredible things. Together, we're building a stronger Ontario. Thank you again to Moderna team for your investment and for your confidence in our province and our people. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
This question, please.
Hi, Jeff Outhit from the Record newspaper. Welcome back to
yeah, it's great to be here, Jeff. Thanks so much.
I have a question for you. The University of Waterloo has announced that it's cutting ties with Huawei, which is the Chinese research giant. There's millions of dollars in Chinese-funded research that's now going to disappear, and innovation. Your government, Minister Fedeli, just mentioned how important collaboration research is for your government for promoting it. So I want to get your take on UW announcing an end with Huawei, which could spread to other universities, and the risk of millions of dollars of Chinese investment, innovation and research leaving this province as a result of that. So what's your take on that? Good thing, bad thing?
Well, you know, I think University of Waterloo is one of the best universities anywhere in Canada, if not the world. And I don't like meddling in the middle of their decisions. I don't dictate to the universities. If that was their decision, I'll support their decision. But we can make up those millions of dollars on the other end. It concerns me sometimes on some of the things we're dealing with the Communist Chinese government.
Follow-up questions for Minister Jones, if that's all right?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, appreciate that. Mr. Jones, I've been writing about Guelph General Hospital recently, speaking to patients and nurses inside the hospital, which is quite frankly overwhelmed, and they've told me horror stories about being parked in hallways for days on end, patients who are afraid to go back to the hospital, nurses who are shocked by what they see, other patients who say it doesn't feel like care at all, and the hospital acknowledging that it is way over capacity and doesn't have enough space for the people it's serving. So I want to ask you, as the health minister, why has the government allowed Guelph General Hospital to decay to this point, and do you have any solution for hospital care in Guelph?
So specifically regarding the Guelph Hospital, I would respectfully suggest that you need to deal directly with the hospital leadership on that. Having said that, I will say that our government has been making investments since 2018, both on the health human resources by ensuring that learn and stay programs have started to make a difference where nurses, paramedics and lab techs have the ability to have their tuition and books covered if they are willing to stay in underserved areas in the province of Ontario. And we're starting to see that that's making a real impact in our communities. We have over 50 capital builds across Ontario, whether it's new hospitals, expansions or renovations, where we as a government have made the investment to say we know our community is aging, is growing, is expanding, and we want to make sure that we have the capacity within the system. But specifically for the Guelph Hospital, it's best that you deal with their leadership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi.
Laura Stone, Globe and Mail.
Hey, Laura.
Can I ask Minister Fedeli a question first? Thank you. Minister, the Ontario Securities Commission has said that the company formerly known as FaceDrive issued misleading information about its TraceScan contact tracing technology. Was the government of Ontario misled when it gave that company $2.5 million, and will you try to now recoup the funds?
Well, all of the funds that we distribute through the Ontario Together Fund are not delivered up front. They are delivered over a course of many years based on performance. So any of the monies that have not, in fact, with FaceDrive, most of it has not been distributed to the company.
Okay, thank you. And Premier Ford, I have a question for you. Thank you. Just regarding Ontario Place, and your relationship with Zlatko Starkovsky. Can you explain why it is that the government is doing business with him and Ontario Live? And can you respond to critics who are raising concerns about your family's previous relationship with him and why your government is looking to sole source a contract with him for an entertainment complex?
Well, first of all, I know of the gentleman. I wouldn't call it a close relationship, first of all. We're building a destination for people to come, and we're having the Science Center. We're having the new amphitheater there. They're bringing in food as well. I'm not, in there making decisions on every single issue. I leave it up to the chair. I leave it up to the minister to make those decisions. And at the end of the day, we're going to make sure everything's transparent, everything's up front, which we always do, and build a great destination for the people of Ontario and the people of Toronto as well.
This is a question for Minister Jones. Carmen Grollo with CBC-KW. Minister Jones, we know that here in Waterloo Region, only about 15% of the population is up to date on their COVID-19 booster vaccines. So, and there's also people who are hesitant in getting vaccinated. So what will your government do to, boost the public's confidence in getting vaccinated?
Well, as you know, during the pandemic and now working with our public health unit partners as well as our pharmacy partners, we've ensured and made sure that vaccines are available in many different pathways throughout our communities. And ultimately, that will continue as we see ebbs and flows of perhaps new variants. We're monitoring this very closely with the Chief Medical Officer of Health, but I want to reassure the people of Ontario that there are a number of pathways that will continue to be available to you when you are ready for that booster shot. Again, whether it is through a public health unit, through your local community pharmacy, or of course your primary care practitioner. Thank you.
And just a question from Premier Ford as well. So here in Kitchener, Kitchener Centre NDP MPP Laura May Linda will be stepping down in July. How soon after will you be calling a by-election?
Well, we'll sit down and decide that once she officially steps down, and we'll run a great candidate. I'll tell you, it's good for Kitchener if another PC member gets elected, another voice at the table. We have great voices with MP Riddell and MPP Dixon, along with MPP Harris, but we need another strong voice to continue bringing in investment to this region, which we're doing. But I encourage people, when the time comes, they'll have a clear decision. They either vote for a government that's creating jobs and economic development, building new hospitals, and we are building Highway 7, or a government that sits in the opposition benches shouting and screaming questions. Choice is pretty clear. You vote for a voice at the table.
Matt Betts, Cambridge Today. My question is for Minister Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Jones, with the shortage of family doctors currently locally, I've been told that the Ontario College of Family Physicians has recommended solutions to the provincial government. I was just wondering if you could expand on that and how those talks are going.
Yeah, it's actually been a very exciting time as we make changes to ensure that individuals who have the qualifications to practice in the province of Ontario get that right quickly. So in late summer, I issued a directive to the College of Physicians of Ontario and ensuring that internationally educated physicians would have their applications assessed and ultimately reviewed, and if appropriate, approved and given a license quickly. That has seen quite a dramatic increase. Of course, under Bill 60, we now have as of right rules in the province of Ontario, which really means that any clinicians, registered health practitioners like family docs, if they are practicing and licensed in another Canadian jurisdiction, can come to Ontario and start practicing immediately while they go through the CPSO process. They're really exciting times to be able to see as we increase the number of residency spots in our universities, as we increase the number of offerings for individuals who want to practice nursing, want to become a paramedic, a lab tech. We've expanded those seats with the work of the colleges and universities ministers. So it's an exciting time to be able to see some of those very specific initiatives start to see increases. And clearly, we want to have physicians, clinicians be able to practice in the community of their choice in Ontario as quickly as possible.
Thank you. My follow-up question is also for you, Minister Jones. In regards to a planning grant that was given to St. Mary's Hospital and Grand River Hospital, just looking for an update on, for a new hospital, just looking for an update on where that stands and what the next step is for that.
Yes, as I mentioned previously, we have over 50 expansions, new builds, renovations, or actual new builds, expansions in hospitals across Ontario, and we continue to work with other neighboring hospitals that have put in applications for expansions. Look, there is no doubt that Premier Ford's government has put more investment into bricks and mortar, into health human resources than any previous government in generations, and we are going to see those changes. I have to say, there were previous NDP and Liberal governments who actually cut residency spots. And unfortunately, because of how long it takes for a doctor to be trained, we are now seeing communities impacted because of those decisions. We are turning the corner on that. We started this work in 2018, and we're starting to see the expansions happening. Thank you.
Morning, Premier. Liam Casey with the Canadian Press. Actually, the question is for Minister Jones, although I do love hearing from you, so maybe you could weigh in after. Minister, we got internal documents that show plenty of work on a long COVID strategy throughout much of last year, and which, the documents include, they're completely redacted 34-page document that was brought to Cabinet along with a completely redacted communications strategy, but nothing seemed to come of it. Just what happened to the long COVID strategy?
So, in fact, our ministry is working actively with our primary care physicians and our university researchers. We now have a billing code or a scanning code for physicians to use to deal with long COVID patients. We are learning through the work of university researchers and our primary care docs at the front line of where we need to focus on the long COVID, and without a doubt, that investment will continue because we know that there are individuals who continue to be impacted by when they received COVID in the previous year, previous months.
Okay. So is that strategy coming? Or, Premier, did you want to weigh in first?
Much of the work is ongoing. As I said, we have university partners who are already working with it. We have clinician codes to ensure that family doctors, primary care practitioners who are working with long COVID patients have the ability to access and be billed through the ministry. And all of that will continue as we develop strategies and learn from what our university partners, our primary care practitioners are seeing in the front line. Thank you.
This will be the last question.
Tyler Kelleher with CTV News. Just a question for Premier Ford, touching on the doctor shortage. Ontario College of Family Physicians stating that close to 65,000 people in this region battling, unable to find a doctor or a family doctor. Just asking what can be done, what is being done right now to address that issue.
Yeah, thanks so much for the question. Since 2018, there's 8,000 more doctors registered in Ontario, 60,000 new nurses. We're building 2 universities, medical schools, one out in Brampton, being able to enroll more students to become doctors, along with the expansion of University of Toronto out in Scarborough. We're increasing the grads and undergrad seats there. And we're going as quickly as we possibly can to bring more doctors online. The other area that we want our students from Ontario to be in the medical schools, not students from around the world paying $100,000 taking their spots. So that's also going to free up quite a few spots. I'm just a strong believer, rather than shipping our kids off to Ireland or over the Caribbean to go to medical school, because other students around the world have the $100,000 to pay the universities. That's not fair. So that's coming to an end immediately to add more seats for our great young students that are coming in to serve the people of Ontario. But we're building the capacity as quickly as we possibly can.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Okay, thanks everyone. All the very best.